We're on live, I believe. I'm trying to get this down. Oh, look at you. Thank you for joining today.
Oh,
This is
thank you
our,
for having me. And I'm
yeah,
so excited
me
about
too.
doing my mediumship program at Salty Stone. Wow.
I
Because we've
know.
had such excellent programs there before.
Hmm. This is your fourth time here.
I know. Yeah.
We love you. Okay, so we will hop right to it and get people the information. I know you have a message for everyone, and I will just guide you with a question and just let you. I know you know what people are looking for. So, one of my personal questions that I think that a lot of people would start off with is, how long have you been a medium?
It's going on about 30 years, Donna. So, 3 decades, and that's just this lifetime. I've certainly done this at previous times, so I was kind of
Okay.
born with the sensitivity. But I've
Hmm.
spent many, many years training. One cannot just open up shop being a medium. There
Right.
you really have to hone the skill.
Hmm.
And I love connecting people with their loved ones, and that's their
Hmm.
family, their spouses, and their pets. There's been many readings I've done that pets
Oh.
have come through as well. So I love what I do, and I
Hmm.
love to be a small part of people's healing
Hmm.
journey.
Hmm. I didn't know that pets came through. Although one thing that stuck with me that you have spoken about is that all pets are angels. You
Yeah,
told
they
me
are
that.
true healers.
Mhm. Yeah.
They are
Okay. So
healers here on the physical plane, and they're
yes.
healers in the spirit world too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's
And in many
awesome.
readings I've done, they will show up. I will usually give a description
Hmm.
because, of course, we know animals don't have language, but
Hmm.
that bond of love, which
Hmm.
keeps us connected with our human loved ones, is
Hmm.
also there with our pets.
Yeah. That is so beautiful. I think I would love just to do one on pets, but maybe we could do that sometime. For
Sure.
people that want to connect with their pets. But I'm curious, when did you step into working with confidence? Because I believe that you bring to the table is this sense of peace and confidence to connect you. So it's not like a wishy-washy situation. So when did you know, like, you stepped into your own power of what you were to do here?
Yeah, that's a really excellent question. Um, and I'm very transparent in my
Hmm.
life and in all interviews that I do. That took many years, because I've taught a lot of people
Hmm.
mediumship, but also intuitive development.
Okay.
Trust is the number one obstacle that people usually have. I'm no
Hmm.
different. Have had to
Right.
overcome. Am I making this up, or is this really spirit showing this? And
Hmm.
that takes many, many years of training to be that
Hmm.
confident. That certainly was not there in the beginning. And, so over four, at this point, I've probably, and I need to go in and change my website. I
Hmm.
think I have 14,000 on my website readings that I've done. It's
Wow.
probably about 15,000 at this point.
Oh yeah.
So every reading I do also, it strengthens my spirit mind. All of us
Hmm.
have a higher self, a spirit mind.
Hmm.
So being a medium, it doesn't mean in any way that I'm superior to anybody. That's why I never
Hmm.
use the word gifted.
Right.
Um,
Oh.
but what it does mean is that I've learned how to go into that frequency, that higher sense perception,
Hmm.
and that's how I perceive the spirit world.
So I didn't have this question in my mind, but since you said that, how do you prepare to sit with somebody? Do you meditate, or is there some type of ritual that you're doing to prepare for the group?
Yes.
Okay.
Every single private reading that I do, I sit here in my office and I do a brief meditation. I mean, just a couple of minutes. But
Yeah.
when you close your eyes, and in every mediumship program I do, and I know you know this, I
Mhm.
lead the group in a beautiful guided meditation
Mhm.
so that also the group can be on that same page,
Right.
that they too can know they have that access, that ability within themselves. And
Mhm.
so I make it's habitual that every single private reading, even if it's only a couple of minutes, whatever I was doing beforehand, I'm out of that now. I'm into my spirit, mind, and that opens that up for me. Not going out of my body or anything like that, but
Mhm.
it's just sort of flipping that switch. And I've done this for so long that I can flip the switch that
Mhm.
quickly, you know.
Yeah.
Another question I've been asked a lot by people is, when you go out to the grocery store or you're out, just walking around or whatever, do you constantly see spirit? And the answer to that
Yeah.
is no,
Okay.
because the switch is flipped off
Mhm.
when I'm finished working.
Oh, interesting. Yes, you. It's like you cut yourself off from that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, any medium who is worth their salt will
Mhm.
tell you that, because
Mhm.
we're meant to be here experiencing
Mhm.
the physical world, or we
That's
wouldn't be
right.
here.
That's
It's that
right.
simple. And but we have never lost, and this is true of everyone.
Mhm.
We have
Mhm.
never lost that connection with our own soul, our
Mhm.
own higher consciousness.
Mhm.
And part of mediumship, I think, that is overlooked, that is beneficial to people, is that a reading is healing in that it provides evidence of that loved one's continued presence, but it's also a reminder to the recipient of the reading that they too are spirit, that
Yeah.
they too are eternal, and that
Yeah.
this life is a fraction, a very small, like a grain of sand on a beach, part of
Mhm.
the soul's um,
Mhm.
consciousness.
Right.
And so mediumship also is a reminder for people of that truth.
Mhm. That's lovely. It's so nice. Thank you for I'm just so this is awesome because this is a piece that people can get before they even arrive sometime with you. It's very sweet of you to do this. So I'm
Yes.
curious, how do you become aware of those in spirit?
It's through this faculty that everybody has. It is called clairsentience. And
Okay.
clair is, it's a French word. It means clear. Sentience means feeling
Okay.
or sensing.
Okay.
So I might get an emotion, but
Mhm.
most commonly, and I often do, but most commonly it's a sensing of that spirit person.
Okay.
Like, is it a mom or a dad?
Mhm.
Is it somebody in the same generation as the recipient of the reading? Is it
Mhm.
someone younger? Because I've done
Mhm.
a lot of readings with people who have had the tragedy of losing a child.
Right.
So that's how it occurs. It's sort of like a tapestry in that the faculties of clairvoyance or seeing and clairaudience or listening
Mhm.
arise from the faculty of clairsentience. So it's those three put together, and they form this impression of that spirit, that soul in the
Mhm.
spirit world.
One thing that you have said in these group settings is to use your voice. You asked some people to use their voice. Could you expand on that? What you mean by
Sure,
that? Okay.
sure. The voice is obviously it's an expression of that person's life force energy. And so
Okay.
the voice carries, to me, because I'm particularly clairaudient as well. That's why from the beginning of my career, I've done a lot of radio. I've done a lot, many radio readings.
Mhm.
All I have is a name, and I go
Mhm.
from there, just brief little mini readings.
Mhm.
But the voice carries a lot of information. And sometimes, even if I just hear a name, to me, it opens up a dimension from that sound.
Okay.
And also, a yes, say that I'm giving evidence of the spirit
Mhm.
communicator's identity, and the person goes, yes, that's my mom or that's my dad or whoever. It really, the vibration of a yes is it actually fortifies the
Mhm.
energy of the reading, and it strengthens the ability for that spirit person to be able to communicate more strongly. Now, in the case of a no, I don't let that slide.
Mhm.
I go, okay, what did I misinterpret? And I will stay with that.
Mhm.
And usually it doesn't take that long. It's not like, 10 or 15 minutes,
Right.
but I will see where did I kind of go askew with what I was sensing.
Mhm.
And the hardest to interpret really is clairvoyance because it's a picture and it can be very subjective. Um,
Mhm.
so clairaudience, it's, no, this is what I heard. I heard this name.
Mhm.
There's a lot of names in my readings,
Mhm.
a lot of names. And also, spirit will communicate some very, very specific details about themselves, about their life, memories, and
Mhm.
also about the recipient of the reading, so that
Mhm.
they will also get, oh, this must be my dad. How would she know that this was going on with me?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
somebody else who's not even present in the group.
Mhm.
Sometimes people are messengers. They'll carry a message from the spirit world to another family member or to a
Mhm.
friend.
Yeah. Yeah. I have witnessed some of those details being told, and it's really touching. So even if you're not the recipient of the information, just to watch someone else receive something that's so heartfelt and endearing to them is rewarding. Just to be in a group, I think it makes a group setting very special. And
Yeah,
do you like group settings, or do you
I
like
love
one on
them.
ones?
I
Okay.
love, I
Mhm.
love groups. Now,
Mhm.
I love private readings too, because the private readings get into a lot more depth, obviously.
Right.
Within the group, there's usually one main spirit communicator that will come through. I completely surrender to the spirit world. I have no control over who comes through.
Right.
That's not up to me. The spirit world orchestrates that. I'm
Mhm.
very honest with people. I cannot guarantee the presence of anybody. Anyone who's a legitimate, genuine medium can never guarantee that. If
Right.
somebody would guarantee that, I would be very suspect that they're genuine,
You're right.
because it's sort of like sitting there and going, "Oh, I want Bill to call me, or I want Marie to call me," or something.
Mhm.
Well, you can't do that. You have to be
Right.
receptive. So it's the same way with mediumship. And sometimes it's someone that you are not expecting. That's happened a lot. But I always say to people, please be receptive. Work with
Right.
the spirit world,
Right.
because I'm sure you've probably heard this. It may not be who you want, but it's something who you need, what you need. And that's the way it works.
Or what I personally experienced, which you don't know some of the aspects, but um, the first time I met you, some of the messages I was able to pass on to other family members. And I didn't know it until the moment, because you mentioned if it's not for you, or just share. A couple of times it was mentioned, like, make sure you share this with other family members. So I knew when that moment was in front of me that I was to share a piece of the information I found. And so that was something interesting and unexpected. So can anybody do
Yeah.
medium? Can anybody become a medium?
My answer, I'm from the school of no, because, and I'll tell you why. I'll use my own self with this. I love music. From the time I was a little girl, my father worked for Westinghouse, and we
Mhm.
all our appliances, everything in the house was Westinghouse because he got a discount. So I had a little 45 record player. Yeah, I'm dating myself with that, but I had a little 45 record player, and I
Yeah.
used that thing till it wore out. And I love music. I would love to be able to play an instrument. I
Mhm.
would love that. I would love to be in a rock band,
Mhm.
but I can appreciate it, but I know that that's not my calling.
Right.
So it doesn't mean, one is not better, or an athlete, same thing.
Mhm.
Somebody is born, they're just a natural athlete.
Mhm.
Not everybody is meant to go to the Olympics or, into competition. So I do not believe, here's what I would say. If you're called to this pathway, you will know it.
Right. You
I
won't be
actually,
alone.
to get onto my pathway, Donna, I
Mhm.
went through very serious addiction. That was in my 20s, um, and through recovery and 12
Mhm.
step and all that.
Wow.
But the what really put me onto this pathway, in addition to that, was a fire. It took me completely out of what I was doing at the time,
Wow.
and it set me
Mhm.
squarely down. It took about almost a year for me to get on to this pathway. I was in my late 30s. Um, so, I've heard this from other mediums too.
Mhm.
They've had something sort of catastrophic that's happened to them.
Mhm.
And, it looks at the time really, really devastating or really bad.
Mhm. Mhm.
But then spirit opens the door to our calling, what we're supposed to be doing. So that's what happened to me in this case. And I would never wish a fire on anybody.
Right.
It's absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
I have the utmost compassion for people who have lost their homes in fires and stuff, or a
Mhm.
flood. Um, but that was sort of the catalyst, the
Mhm.
tragic thing that got me
Boy, am
onto.
I glad you listened to that message. I think a
So
lot of people
am
who know
I.
you. Yes, a lot of people who have
So
met you.
am I. Because the people I have met, like
Yeah.
at your retreat center, and countless others. I've done so many
Mhm.
groups over the years, and reading now nationally and actually internationally. I read for other countries
Wow.
too occasionally. A lot of them actually,
Yeah.
but I never would have met any of these
Yeah.
wonderful people if it weren't for doing what I'm doing. So I feel very blessed. I,
Mhm.
I I can't even tell you how grateful I am. I consider myself sort of the guardian of this gift of mediumship, and
Mhm.
I treat it with such respect
Mhm.
because it's given from God,
Mhm.
and it to me it's extremely healing for people.
Mhm.
And even like
Yeah.
you were saying, people who aren't present
Right.
that do get a message through a loved one
Mhm.
like you,
Yeah.
can also benefit from
Mhm.
the art of mediumship.
Yeah. And several family members. It's been unbelievable. So, what a question that kind of came up is, what are some of the themes those in spirit have brought through in your readings?
Top of mind here, I believe, and these are all in my books. I've written 5 books. Wisdom from the Spirit World, that's the most recent.
Mhm.
I have a new book coming out early next year. Um, Wisdom from the Spirit World, there's 10 main themes I've heard. These are things I heard over and over and over again. Top of mind comes up forgiveness. Forgiveness. Um, it's
That's
incredible to me how many people that I've that have connected with me for a session
right.
that had unfinished emotional business with a loved one. Like, dad never told me he loved me.
Mm-hmm.
Mom, was mean to me, or and
Mm-hmm.
now mom or dad's in the spirit world. They're coming through, and I don't know them at all, but I have a lot of symbols I work with in mediumship that mean certain specific things to me. And so, a bended knee
Mm-hmm.
is one of my symbols. And that means I'm sincerely sorry for what I did do to you or what I didn't give you.
Right.
So forgiveness is a major theme,
Okay.
and it doesn't mean that we're just like we're okaying what was done.
Mhm.
What it does mean is a conscious decision to release the past.
Right.
That's what that means in a spiritual sense. Another very important lesson: our wounds do not diminish the light within us.
Mhm.
Okay, so whatever in the past, like in my case, I did so many things that I sincerely regret under
Mhm.
the influence of chemicals. And
Mhm.
so I did all my 12 steps. I did my making amends and all of that. I
Mhm.
still um, carry some residue of guilt over those things.
Mhm.
But then I have to remember that past does not diminish who I am today.
Right.
It's those are experiences that I had,
Mhm.
and if
Mhm.
that's sort of this reframing of the past. And
So you're saying
people,
forgiveness is at the top of the 10, and
yeah,
not dimming your light, like your personal light, like who you are.
exactly,
And
yeah,
you find spirit comes over to help you step into that light or what you're meant to do here.
yes. And
Okay.
see, the thing is, when we carry around the past,
Mhm.
we're carrying around like a 200-pound weight on our
I
back,
know.
maybe more, maybe more. And I know there's so many people who've experienced
Mhm.
some kind of trauma. It doesn't matter what type. Could have been abuse, could have been
Right.
a death of somebody that they've never resolved. It could be many different things.
Mhm.
But the point is that it hinders us from the now moment of
Yeah.
being here now. And it sort of obscures, it's a cloud over our light, the light being the
Yeah.
soul. So that's why I call
Mhm.
forgiveness the cornerstone of healing,
Yeah.
because that's really what it is.
Yeah.
A cornerstone is the building, the building structure depends on that. It's a very
Mhm.
important part of that building. So without it, we can't really stand. So it's sort of the same way when we carry around the past.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a terrible childhood. Well, okay, you're not there now.
Right.
So whether we go through psychological
Mhm.
counseling or spiritual pathway, body work, energy
Mhm.
work, and sometimes a combination of those things. These are all healing tools
Mhm.
that a person can use.
Yeah.
Mediumship is one of those tools.
Yes.
I have never promoted it as a cure all for anything
Right. Right.
because it isn't.
Right.
It's one tool in a toolbox.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. So, okay. Do you have a? I don't want to give away your whole book, but if you're willing to share another gold nugget out of the list of 10 things, the major messages from the spirit world, what's another one?
This sounds really strange. The number one lesson
Okay.
in the book is there is an afterlife.
Oh.
So I've over the years I've connected with people in the spirit world. They were atheists or they were agnostic. They weren't
Oh,
sure,
interesting. Yeah.
and the recipient of the reading knows that, and they'll go, yeah, he never. He was kind of was unsure if we would go on
Right.
after we leave here. And so sometimes the message is very simple. And it's, hey, there's a whole nother life here. Okay. That, again, that's really breaking it down. But that's one of the lessons. That's one
Now,
of the
does it matter
lessons.
what you do here in order for how great the afterlife is?
You're right on target because that's another lesson. And
Okay.
that lesson is our life values go with us. Our
Okay.
life values go with us. So that's another lesson in the book. Um, you'll have to read the book, everybody,
Okay. Well, we won't ask you anymore.
to find that out. I give examples. All my
Yes,
books have
I
true
love that.
stories of
Yeah.
clients. All the names are changed, but
Mhm.
so whatever we valued here, and I mean not property or money or fame or
Right.
whatever. but lasting values like love, like service,
Mhm.
like family, you know,
Mhm.
those go with us.
Okay.
And when we go into the spirit world, we have that life review and we look at that.
Mhm.
And we look at, okay, what kind of grade do I give? In fact, there's a section in the book called The Soul's Report Card. And it's about how the soul reviews and gives itself, in the life just lived,
Mhm.
a grade. Did I fail,
Hmm.
or did I meet
Mhm.
my soul's plan for this lifetime?
Carol, I swear I think you're reading my mind just because I was my other heart question I had for you was do you um do you feel like you help people get on their soul path? Because how does someone know if they're doing their soul work? How do they tap into that, knowing what direction to go in life? So many things are happening, and it's like smoke and mirrors, for lack of better words, of what's really real. So, how do you feel like you help people tap into what is speaking to them and why they're here?
I do, because I do offer another type of reading, and that's called a karmic astrology reading. And that uses the birth chart of the individual, their birth time, date, time, and place. And then I have the software here, my astrology software. I pull up their chart, and
Mm-hmm.
there are markers. I've studied astrology for many, many
Mm-hmm.
years, and particularly as it applies to the journey of the soul. And you should see behind you the radiance coming through that window. Oh my gosh. It's
I,
right. It's
yeah,
like
I see this.
spirit.
I didn't even. Do you really think so?
That is amazing.
I know
Amazing.
why. I know what it is. I'll tell you what it is because I feel like
Wow.
that's my walk is to help people on their soul walk in a different
Hmm.
way. And so as soon as
Yes,
I
no,
asked
no one journey is more
I know.
important than the other. And
Yeah.
that's for anybody. That's why I
Yes.
tell people, whether you're a janitor in a
Mhm.
school, or you're, serving in Congress,
Right.
or you're a lawyer
Mhm.
or a doctor or a
Mhm.
teacher, it doesn't matter. That's your soul's
Man,
calling.
is that crazy?
Um, yeah, that's amazing. And so, yeah, that type of reading is
Yes.
extremely, in fact, I did one of those earlier today,
Did you?
extremely insightful in helping people to go, I've
Yes.
always felt that way, but
Yes.
now having the reading, it's a confirmation for them.
Yes. Correct.
And
It's
it's
like
just
you're
another
giving
way
confirmation. Mhm.
through my training
Mhm.
that I can help people to gain that, that comfort that they are following their soul's pathway. Yes.
Now I want to do the reading where but if somebody like myself does not know what time of day they were born and I don't have my original birth certificate,
Hmm.
how do you help people because that time matters and how
It, yeah, preferably you should have the exact birth time, because
okay.
that's the minute that, provided the
Mhm.
hospital was accurate, but that's the minute that the soul came into physical incarnation
Mhm.
from the spirit world.
Okay.
Okay. Um, so at that time, the planets were in certain signs, they were in certain,
Mhm.
how they're called houses. I'm not going into all of
Yeah.
astrology here, but
Okay.
it does matter. If I
Mhm.
do not have that, I will ask the recipient for like an approximation.
Mhm.
Do you think you were born in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, in the middle of the night?
Okay.
So I can still do it, because, and I'll tell you why, the important markers that I look at are the same.
Mhm.
They
Okay.
would be the same,
Okay.
because the markers I look at, and there's three main ones, um, don't change that quickly
Okay.
in a matter. I mean, you definitely have
Right.
the date. So they're not going to change even with several hours, or,
Okay.
within that time frame.
Okay. So I love that people would be coming for the group experience, connecting to their loved ones that have passed. And then you also offer books that have stories that explain things that a lot of people have questions about. Then you also offer almost like a coaching and, for loose terms, some type of guidance. And that's that's what one person I interviewed today explained. They felt like they got a little bit of coaching, so you can correct that if that is off. And
Mm-hmm.
the almost past life, or how do you call that, what you were just describing with.
Yeah, the
Mm,
Akashic
yeah,
Files.
okay,
In Wisdom from the Spirit World, the whole first section of the book is called "You Signed Up for This," and it's all on the Akashic Files. Okay, that's in
hmm
Wisdom from the Spirit World.
hmm
And I will have my books at your retreat
yes,
available for purchase.
yes,
They're also all on Kindle and Amazon. They're
okay,
the only thing they're not on quite yet is audio. That's at the discretion of my publisher. Anyway, I give whatever is going to help that person.
okay,
If it's more of a psychological approach or like
hmm
coaching, we'll put that in quotes,
hmm
that's what's given.
okay,
But in this type of group setting, usually what we're doing is evidentiary mediumship,
yes,
but there is also can be a blend of some type of, emotional healing
hmm
information, um, you know, anything that you can think of that the spirit
hmm
world thinks is going to help.
hmm
And I follow that because I don't know that.
hmm
They're smarter than I am.
hmm
And so there's this phenomena that has to happen in mediumship, and it's called surrender,
okay,
surrender, and blending.
hmm
So the spirit person blends their soul with my soul. That's otherwise mediumship could not be possible. So
yes.
whatever I'm prompted to communicate to the recipient is what I do.
And
It's
in
not me deciding that.
And it's not you, right? And it's very present and evident when you're here in a group setting that it isn't you. It's interesting to watch it unfold. I heard you say how it depletes your energy, and I just want you to talk about that a little bit. But what happens to you when you're getting in touch with the other side, and what does that feel like to you at the end of that? It's
Um,
taking you in some
well, I
way
know my
different,
limits
guidance.
because I've done this for
Okay.
so long. And usually, any medium that I know, I mean, famous mediums or anybody that I know, the maximum time they usually do in a group is 2 hours.
Mhm.
And it does take a lot of my, it uses some, not, I mean, it's not like I'm completely, have to go lay down after,
Right, right.
but it does use some of my life force.
Okay.
And, I know my limits. I
Mhm.
would far rather give quality than quantity.
Mhm. Mhm.
I will
That's
never be an assembly line medium.
right.
I hear some people, they're like, well, I'm doing 8 readings a day. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I'd be dead. I
Oh,
can't
I
do that.
agree.
I don't know how anyone could.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm very discretionary
Mhm.
about the time and keeping my life balanced because
Yes.
everything in life should be about balance.
Yes.
We got to go out and play. We got to spend time with our significant other.
Mhm.
And then there's our work,
Mhm.
so
Right.
there needs to, and we have to rest. So there's that balance that,
Yes.
we always have to. And believe me, if I come out of that balance, I feel it right away,
Mhm.
right away. It's sort of like when you go to get your spine aligned at a
Yes.
chiropractor. And if you're used to that nice alignment, and
Mhm.
then you come out of that, you go, oh man,
Mhm.
that really hurts. So
And you
that's what
know
it's like for
exactly what
me.
to do to get in alignment. You go and take care of it. Yeah. So unless you have parting words for anybody coming to a group setting, I think that one thing that pops up in my mind is people feeling apprehensive being in front of other people. I know I felt that way, and I would say once once it starts, it's like you're in a supported group and you actually don't even think
Mhm.
about it.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Yeah, I've met with that before, but The thing is, first off, and I've actually had this happen, I do not impart embarrassing things in front
Mhm.
of a group. That's I use discretion. Okay.
Mhm.
So sometimes, and not real often, but sometimes I will say, see me afterwards.
Mhm.
And then that's given privately to that
Right.
individual.
That's very nice.
That happened in a group I was doing many years ago. And long story short, the
Mhm.
person's father was very abusive. And I
Right.
didn't want to put her on the spot like that because I
Right.
felt the energy.
Yes.
So I said, please see me afterwards. And she did.
Mhm.
And so I gave her what, was needed at that time.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it's really, and actually, instead of being kind of feeling vulnerable, what can actually happen is, like you were saying, you feel supported because there's synchronicity that
Mhm.
operates in these group settings.
Mhm.
And that's how it happens.
It's like
If
magic, and
I'm
it
giving you a
yes.
message, or
Mhm.
let's say your dad's coming through, or
Mhm.
grandma, whoever, and there's another person there, and they might share some of those same
Right.
evidentiary facts,
Right.
um, it can be quite powerful.
Mhm.
Um, as specific as the messages get,
Mhm.
sometimes there's a certain theme that will come
Mhm.
up with several recipients or the whole group. I
I
remember I
know.
did a group, and it was the theme was almost everybody there had somebody in their family who had been alcoholic.
Yes.
Okay. So, they weren't embarrassed or anything. They're like, yeah, I
Yeah.
understand. I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
So, just know for anyone who is apprehensive about that,
Yeah.
I mean, my work is about healing. It's
Oh,
not
yeah.
about, it's
You would
not
be
about
missing out if you
embarrassing or,
let that hold you back. I'm glad I didn't let it hold me back. I could have, and I chose to step through fear of feeling that way, and it turned out beautiful, and everybody benefited. And the theme is true. We had a dad theme one time, like dads were just coming through, grandfather and dads, the whole entire thing. It was like a
yeah, that
Father's Day.
happens too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
that
neat.
happens too. And
Yeah.
all you need is an open heart when you come
Yeah.
to these groups.
Mhm.
And, the meditation that I lead the group in, that
Mhm.
helps
Yes,
with
it's
that because
beautiful.
I feel it's very beautiful.
Beautiful.
And you get to directly experience the spirit world and
Yeah.
that connection and the peace and the serenity of it.
Yeah.
And that's the
Yeah.
guided meditation. And there is healing that happens within that group setting
Mhm.
that is it can be different than what happens even in a private reading, and vice versa.
Yes, correct.
Sometimes in a private reading there's this very much in-depth
Mhm.
stuff that goes on, communication.
Mhm.
So there is a difference, but the group is very powerful. That's the other thing. It can really bring some terrific healing power in
Yeah.
for everybody
Mhm.
present.
Well, we are still, talking about our group experience from a few years back. And so I know that everybody would benefit. And it's something that I'm asked over and over to hold this event. So I'm so glad. I'm going to wrap things up unless there's something else you want to leave with somebody. But I think you were gracious with your time with us, and
And
hopefully we
thank you,
encourage.
Donna.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for your time. And I look forward to June 23rd.
Yes,
And I know you have, I won't be partaking in this, but you have a wonderful chef coming, right?
yes, yes.
And that's, wow,
Yeah, I know
that's
we can never
really,
feed you. We have we have lemon dessert. She never eats here. Lemon dessert,
well,
and
I think I did once.
you
I don't know. Part of that might be I am vegan. But I
okay.
think you are too, aren't you?
No, but we
Oh,
offer
okay.
options because we try to meet some gluten and vegan things. But I know you took some food
Okay.
home. Hopefully you'll take our dessert will be vegan, our mocktails will be vegan.
Oh, okay. I'm coming. That's all you
All
needed
right,
to say.
I'll see you there. All right, I'm looking
Okay.
forward to it, Carol. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I just can't wait to connect with the group. It's going to be
Same.
great.
Same. All right. You have a good evening. Bye.